Last night on MeWe, I created a group and officially announced my candidacy for the office of Governor of New Mexico. Let me say right off that I don't expect to win, nor even to get any votes. But this is not a joke. I'm running to make a point, and I hope that eventually word of mouth will carry this point to the candidates who have a chance to win. I have no money on which to run, and since I work for a living, I have no way to go out and raise money for a real campaign. This is going to be an online campaign, at least as far as I'm concerned, though if others choose to go out and print flyers and put up posters and make speeches and shake hands and all the other things that go into a real campaign, I won't hinder them. Indeed, if anyone thinks my positions are that important, that much worth promoting, I'll be very happy and I'll encourage all such endeavors. This also means that I won't bother with officially filing to run. I did seriously consider that, but I decided I didn't really want to mess with the paperwork and the hassle, and while I didn't look into it, yes, this candidate doesn't look into certain things and freely admits it. While I didn't look into it, I suspect there's a filing fee, and I further suspect it's beyond my reach. I won't tell anyone not to write in my name. On the contrary, if on election day you want to write in my name, feel free. I have a middle name, but I never use it. So if you do want to write me in, just put down Robert McKay, M-C-K-A-Y. But as I said, I'm not running so much to win as to make a point. Indeed, part of my point is this. People who enter politics just so they can win have no business in politics. Just as I have nothing but contempt for lawyers who don't care who's right and who's wrong, what's just and what's unjust, but only care about winning the case, so I have nothing but... I'm reading this off the screen and lost my place. I'm a real person, not a politician. So I have nothing but contempt for politicians whose sole purpose is to win elections. And if you think I'm blunt there, just consider this. I have the utmost contempt for politicians who enter politics so they can win elections and want to win elections so that they can get power. People, I not only am not seeking political power, but I actively seek to avoid power. I'll get into my platform in a bit, but let me say now that my purpose in running for governor is to restrain and restrict and muzzle the power of the governor's office. If by some miracle of divine providence I actually win the election, my first acts will be to reduce my own power. And that brings me to my point. Since the spring of 2020, we in New Mexico have been, de facto, living in a third world banana republic. The governor, whose name I don't use unless I have to, because if I use it I'll have to spit, has ruled by decree just like the president for life of any two-bit dictatorship. She hasn't consulted the legislature. She hasn't consulted the courts. She certainly hasn't consulted the citizens, but has ruled by her own whim. Whatever she wanted to order, she ordered. Whatever she wanted to subject the citizens to, she ordered. She issued edicts, decrees, ukases, pronunciamientos, all of them unilaterally. Article 4, Section 4 of the United States Constitution requires that the federal government guarantee to every state a republican form of government. One of the aspects of a republican form of government is checks and balances between the branches of government. The courts and the executive are supposed to keep the legislature from getting too powerful. The executive and the legislature are supposed to balance and restrain the power of the judicial branch. The judges and the legislature are supposed to slap the governor down when she gets uppity. Not only did the federal government, under Donald Trump, I remind you, who proved by his dereliction that he was not the greatest thing since sliced bread and wasn't all that much compared to Ronald Reagan, Not only did the federal government utterly fail to carry out its obligation in New Mexico and in 48 other states, but the checks and balances in New Mexico failed. Never in my life would I have believed you if you had told me that a governor would usurp to herself dictatorial authority to just issue orders and run the state like her own private property without the legislature and the courts rising up in wrath and telling her that they retained their authority and would exercise it. But that's exactly what happened in New Mexico. It's still happening. New Mexicans, though not all of them, alas, are rejoicing today at the lifting of the mask mandate that has kept us in chains for 2 years. But if the governor has the power to unilaterally lift the order, she has the power to unilaterally reimpose it. And in fact, she's done it. That woman in Santa Fe briefly lifted the order back in 2021 and then clamped it back down again. She knows that as long as the legislature and the courts lie supine, she can do anything she wants, and she has never relinquished that power. And that's why I'm running for governor. Yesterday I wrote out longhand a promise to the voters, took a photo of it, and posted it on MeWe. Let me now quote from that promise. If I win on the day of my inauguration, I will, and here I begin quoting, 1. Rescind any and all public health orders relating to COVID-19 that are still in effect. 2. Issue an executive order forbidding all businesses, organizations, or school districts to require employees, customers, or students to wear a mask or receive the COVID vaccine or booster. I also promise to introduce legislation limiting the governor's authority to issue such orders and requiring the legislature to review all such orders after no more than 30 days, and further requiring debate and a vote of the legislature to extend any such orders. That is my promise to you. I promise that if I do win the election, I will do my utmost to ensure that never again can any governor rule by decree without legislative input. I will do my utmost to ensure that no governor can ever again order free citizens around like slaves. I don't seek power. I seek to reduce the power of the governor. So that New Mexicans can live free, free of fear, free of domination, free of arbitrary and anti-scientific orders. You are free citizens, and it is my promise to you that if you elect me to the office of Governor of New Mexico, I will protect your freedom.